for May. A survey from the Finance and Mortgage Broker Association shows Australia faces a financial and mental health emergency due to rising interest rates. The Finance Brokers Association commissioned survey of more than 1,000 people found a large percentage are struggling, being forced to sell assets or take on additional work. Managing Director Peter White says it'll take a combined approach by government, lenders and the community to help people through.
The FBAA has just conducted its second Australian Mortgage and Rental Affordability Survey. And if I go back briefly 18 months, we first did this, and this was just before interest rates rose, and 57% of people said they couldn't afford a 1% or $300 a month increase in their mortgage repayments. A lot of water's gone under the bridge since then, and we've now reviewed it to see how people have fared. And people have fared generally very well, but they've fared well by way of sacrificing things. And so we've seen around 61% of people have cut back on their spending, their weekly spending, including their groceries, as well as leisure and social activities. 61% of people are cutting back on a whole lot of stuff. We've also seen around 69% of people cancel holiday plans or about to cancel them. And a lot of people, 58%, are taking on additional work. So people are selling things, cutting back on things, taking on more work to generate more income to be able to afford their mortgages and their rents. So it's quite startling what's transpired. We've proven we're very resilient, but at the same token, we've given away a lot to get there.
I suppose, does this line up with what your expectations would have been, heading into this survey?
Heading into this survey, I wasn't really sure what our expectations would be, except that I did know through what we see through other data, through our ombudsman and through our regulator, that there wasn't a huge increase in complaints or issues being dealt with by borrowers because of hardship. So we knew borrowers were doing well. The interesting piece was to understand how they manage that. And as I say, they've cut back on a lot of things, they've sold assets and cancelled holidays and stuff like that to get through. And, it is a part of, I guess, managing fiscal policy to tighten spending and try and get inflation under control. And I guess we all have to live a part of that, but it all comes at a cost. And my concern now is where we're seeing this data lands, is that rubber band, I think, is stretched as far as it'll go. And its next point of call will be to snap. So with a lot of mortgage borrowers coming off fixed rates in July, they're almost at the peak of what we see as our bell curve for the amount of borrowers that took out fixed rate mortgages about 2 years ago, which is around 800,000 mortgages. It's not one or two of them. They all come off rates with a 1 or a 2 at the beginning and now step into something with a 5 or a 6. So, there's a lot of concern as we get further on and into the second half of this year as to this is great to say we've survived so far by doing this. That can't go on forever.
So I suppose what is it that you would like to see done in an attempt to address this? The
Reserve Bank needs to, I guess, when they're looking at their assessments, allow Australian borrowers time to recover. So it's a balancing act between inflation and people's affordability, and there's been a huge amount done in increasing interest rates, 10 interest rate rises in a row, bar the last one. And now as we're starting to see inflationary measures come back a bit, I can see that Australian mortgages have dropped around 10% from the latter part of last year to now. So people are borrowing less, that there are impacts happening in our country. So Reserve Bank needs to tread easily. My view is they shouldn't rise interest rates. There is a chance that they will. And if they don't this time, they might do it later on in the year. But we need to be careful how this. So it needs to be looked at in an appropriate and measured manner to ensure that we give Aussies time to recover from what we've all been through, both financially and mentally, and of course not forgetting COVID, which, although it was a little while ago, wasn't that long ago either. So we've had a lot on our plates for a while.
So we are expecting that outcome from the board meeting of the RBA later on today in terms of interest rates. Mixed views on what's going to be happening. We'll find out in the coming hours. That's Peter White, though. He's from the Finance Brokers Association of Australia.